And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eskimo Bros podcast. I'm your host, Aiden, and tonight I am joined here by my good friends, Eli.
Yes, sir.
And Mike.
Today is day 16 of the Mrs. WWE Intercontinental Championship Reunion Tour.
Please die. So tonight we're going to be reviewing... I'm sorry, that was a little cold. Tonight we're going to be reviewing WWE Monday Night Raw. It is June 19th, a beautiful summer day here in Los Angeles, California, for me at least. Well, actually, I think Raw is going to be here next week. I'm definitely not going. It's not worth my money. This show is evident of that, but I digress. Basically, I actually haven't watched an episode of Raw in a very, very, very long time. I'm talking before WrestleMania, maybe around Royal Rumble time is the last time I've watched a full episode of Raw. So I was going into tonight with some high hopes. I'm going to give them a shot. And for the most part of the show, it was exactly what I remembered it to be and exactly why I stopped watching in the first place. However, that being said, there was also some great stuff that happened tonight, and we'll get into all of that later, of course. But starting off the show, they announced ahead of time that Roman Reigns was going to make a quote-unquote big SummerSlam announcement. And yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, it was a big announcement because Roman Reigns will be facing the winner at of the Great Balls of Fire match between Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe at SummerSlam. Now, I already know that we're going to have some disagreements about this match, but I'm willing to fight, and I'm willing to... Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm willing to debate. If you think this is a bad idea, let's talk about it. Eli, I already know this is a bad idea. Or I'm sorry, you think that this is a bad idea. Let's talk about it.
Okay, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea because it's not – on paper, it's not really a bad idea because Roman versus either Brock or Joe, that's big money match, right?
Yep.
Tuesday, Roman can just say, oh, I'm wrestling the Universal Champion at SummerSlam. I don't get that, personally, and I don't know what they're trying to do with it. But here's my thing. If it means that Lesnar versus Roman will happen at SummerSlam and not WrestleMania in the main event, I'll be happy with it. But I think that since they gave us a rematch, since it kind of ended a little screwy tonight. However, I don't know if it's going to be at SummerSlam per se. And that makes me think that Brock Lesnar is going to retain, and they will wrestle at SummerSlam.
Yep, I completely agree. I don't think they would have given us the Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe match tonight, especially at such an incredible – that match was phenomenal.
It was top. It was actually top-notch wrestling. I was invested in it, and
phenomenal. I feel like they would have left us wanting more if they were going to do that match at SummerSlam, and I'm satisfied with those two. Those two could not wrestle again for years, and I'd be fine with it. If they could continue to put on matches like that, that'd be great. I could watch that pretty much every week. But I think that this Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match at SummerSlam is the right idea for multiple reasons. Number one, Roman Reigns is coming off of beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is no small feat there. He's obviously, in my opinion, the most polarizing character in wrestling right now, if you will. He kind of took John Cena's throne as being this guy that fans either hate or they love. But at the end of the day, that's going to draw attention. Roman Reigns puts asses in seats because, people can say they don't like him and they don't want him in these matches, but he's always going to give you a good match, very solid wrestler, a compelling story, and the outcome is always going to be compelling because it's not like the Roman Reigns is this guy that can never lose a match. He loses. He just lost tonight. We'll talk about that later, of course. But he can lose a match. He can take a loss. He's lost feuds. He He's not a guy that like John Cena was for some point. They aren't protecting him at this crazy level. So personally speaking, they literally just lost tonight, Eli, and it wasn't like this crazy like it wasn't a crazy
match.
Barely unclean. If you want to go by that logic, I mean, why didn't Roman just not pay attention to the screen? He could have just turned around and finished the match. That was just him being dumb. That's his mistake. That's his fault. That's a clean loss because he was the one that made the mistake of watching the screen. But again, we'll talk about that later. That is really, really, really going on a t-shirt soon, I swear to God. But yeah, this is the perfect match, and I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen. I don't know if Brock Lesnar is going to hold the title past SummerSlam. I wouldn't mind to see Roman with the title just because I know he's going to be there every week. I wouldn't mind to have Brock hold the title for maybe until the Rumble or WrestleMania because, in my opinion, I know a lot of people like to complain about the fact that Brock Lesnar is not defending his title at every pay-per-view, and he's not there every week. But every single time Brock Lesnar wrestles a match, it is special. This feud with Samoa Joe is special. It feels they treat him perfect. They treat him almost like he kind of wrestles at a UFC schedule where he appears every so often, every set amount of months. And I think that's genius because when Conor McGregor fights on a pay-per-view, you're going to want to see it. Imagine if Conor McGregor was on TV every Monday and every month he was in a fight at a pay-per-view. And, you know, he's too much exposure and take away from somebody's star power. And I feel like that would be the case for Brock Lesnar. He is a star. He has a lot of star power. When he comes out, the crowd goes crazy. When he comes out, ratings go up. The crowd reacts. It's a big deal when he comes out because he doesn't come out often. And if he's the champion, that's fine. It gives you special matches like Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. This is a dream match, in my opinion, just because of how physical both men's style are. And if you like the Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe match that happens tonight, I feel like you'll also like Brock and Joe. It probably won't be as good. It might be more physical, though. I mean, the wrestling isn't going to be on par with what happened tonight, but still, it's going to be absolutely physical. I'm personally looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to SummerSlam as well, where I assume that Roman Reigns is going to be taking on Brock Lesnar.
I agree with that. I think that having Brock Lesnar there every week, I don't think at this point his character's not built for that. It's not built to just have Paul Heyman come out and talk a bunch of shit on the opponent. Because obviously Brock is not going to wrestle a match on Raw. That's just not how this works anymore, unless there's some sort of special occasion. But that won't happen. So there's no point in using his star power all the time. I would like to see the champion on television more often. And Brock, with or without the title, gives you these marquee matches. That's my thing. Because then if you put a championship list Brock Lesnar against a wrestler, of any wrestler, honestly, and then you have the Universal title match also, you have two matches on the card that are marquee instead of just one. If you're getting what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but I would like to disagree about one of the points that you made, and that was that you would like to see Brock on TV more. If Brock Lesnar,
I would like to see the champion on TV more.
Okay,
not specifically
Brock Lesnar is the champion.
Okay.
Are you saying that you'd like to see Brock Lesnar on TV more because he is?
Well, no, they're doing what they have to do with Brock. I don't think that. Like I said, he's not built to be on TV every week.
Okay, I agree with that. I'll agree with that. I agree that when the champion is not somebody like Brock Lesnar, they should be on TV every week because they're not Brock Lesnar. I guarantee you anybody that holds that title on the current Raw roster will not draw like Brock Lesnar does. It will not be a big deal. If you were to even a guy like Roman Reigns, who I like and he's good and I think he would be good with the title. If you announced that he was going to be cutting a promo on Raw next week, nobody would care. It wouldn't be a talking point. They announced that Brock Lesnar is going to be on Raw next week. Everybody's talking about it. Commentary's hyping it up. Everybody's excited. We want to see what's going to happen between Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. That's because it's Brock Lesnar. He's that big of a star. Point blank.
You did say that. Go ahead.
What's that? No. Go ahead,
you did say that. You did say that no one would be talking about Roman Reigns cutting a promo on Raw if they announced that, but they did. Because last week they said, "Oh, he's got a SummerSlam announcement. What's it going to be?" And people were going anywhere from Goldberg to a rematch with Undertaker.
Well, by that I meant that. I mean that's a certain situation. When you put the SummerSlam pay-per-view title into an announcement, people are going to turn their eyes towards it. I don't care who. It could be The Miz. It could be Seth Rollins announcing whatever it is. But because it's Roman. He's a bigger star than those guys. The implication is that, yes, he's going to be fighting either in a title match or, yes, somebody like The Undertaker. I heard that was a rumor. Or Goldberg. Somebody big like that. But Brock Lesnar, they don't have to announce anything. They just say Brock Lesnar is going to be on TV next week. And that immediately is going to boost the ratings. If you tell me that Roman Reigns is going to be on TV next week, like they flashed that little graphic, Roman live next week, that's not going to do anything.
No shit. He's on the roster.
It's not going to do anything. That's a good point. That's a good point. He's on the roster. He's there every week. But let's say even if he wasn't there every week. Or how about John Cena? I mean, yes, they're hyping up John Cena's return on July 4th, but look at how far in advance they're doing it. If John Cena was to come back July 4th, take off a few weeks, then they announce he's coming back, I guarantee you it would not spike the ratings. Maybe a slight spike, but nowhere near what Brock Lesnar can do. But anyways, Mike, how did you feel about this segment? What are you thinking about Roman Reigns fighting the winner of the Great Balls of Fire match at SummerSlam?
It's gonna be exciting. That's all I have to say.
It is. Honestly, I feel like any way you look at this, any way, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, that's an exciting match. We saw what they did at WrestleMania 30. Great match. And
31.
Was it 31? Okay, my bad. WrestleMania 31. And it definitely opened the door for a rematch with the Seth Rollins cash-in because we never got to find out who the better man was. I'll say leading up, the feud wasn't fantastic, but the match definitely delivered. And now that I know that they can put on a match of that caliber, I'm excited for what they can do at SummerSlam. If it's Roman and Samoa Joe, which I doubt, I would still like to see that considering what I just watched tonight. I was absolutely delighted the entire match. So either way, it's a win for me.
There have been rumors speculating that was going to be the main event of WrestleMania 34, and I was excited. Like you just said, they put on a great match at WrestleMania 31, and I didn't want to wait till next year personally. So I'm glad they're saving it for a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam.
I feel actually I don't know if I commented on this, but I was going to say I think that having this match at SummerSlam instead of next year's WrestleMania is a much better idea because it opens the door for you to do Roman Reigns versus John Cena as the main event of next year's WrestleMania, which I know fans won't like that, but I guarantee you it will be one of the biggest main events in WrestleMania history, without a doubt.
Here's my question. Is it instead of the WrestleMania 34 match, or is it in addition to the WrestleMania 34 match? Do you think that Roman may beat him at SummerSlam and then Lesnar disappears and then resurfaces around WrestleMania time and they do it again?
Now I feel like I would not be a big fan of that at all.
No, I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that.
I feel like WrestleMania is not a platform for you to do rematches, especially a match that we've already seen at WrestleMania. I guess if this wasn't going to happen at SummerSlam, that would be fine because, as I said, they already set the stage for a rematch with there being no winner because of the Seth Rollins cash-in. So this match was bound to happen. But if it were to happen at SummerSlam with a clean finish, Roman goes over, which is the only way I could see them getting another rematch out of it because Brock gets a rematch with the title clause. I would not. Maybe at the Royal Rumble they could do that rematch if they wanted to, but I would
rather see something like
especially with John Cena's new free agency thing. I would absolutely love to see Roman and John Cena at WrestleMania. Not necessarily going to be the best match. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be some excellent contest, However, those are two of the biggest names in wrestling. And when you get two of the biggest names in wrestling, especially two people who, I mean, John Cena, you could argue, is kind of slipping out of his prime, but Roman's definitely in his prime. It's kind of like a passing of the torch moment, and that's what you look for at a big event like WrestleMania. Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, that wasn't necessarily passing of the torch. That was more of just like, they want to get in a big match, two big names, let's do it. This has it's more special. I could see it being the last match of John Cena's career if you want to go that far. So I mean, I just think that Roman Reigns right now, he is the guy to put into the SummerSlam main event, and he might as well be the guy to put into the next year's WrestleMania main event because he's of the new generation of the people that are, you know, young, maybe early 30s, late 20s. Among your like Finn Balor's, your Seth Rollins, all those guys, he is the guy going forward, no doubt about it. You know, I keep on hearing everybody talking about Finn, how Finn could come up from behind. Just look at what happened to him tonight. Have you ever seen Roman Reigns fight Bo Dallas in a match before? I don't think so. I don't think Vince sees Finn Balor as that guy. I think they gave him the title for a feel-good moment. He's not the guy. Roman Reigns is the guy.
It really it really like hurts to hear that stuff being said, but in a way it's true. It really is, because not only is Finn 5-6 years older than Roman is, Roman's just in a much better position than Finn Balor will ever probably be. I'm not the biggest Roman fan, but I have a level of respect for him in the ring, and I have a level of respect for him in that he can draw ratings, he can put on great matches, and he is just a polarizing figure.
Exactly.
I'm in the booze of the crowd.
I'm glad you could agree because
I
this.
disagree because
Go ahead.
I don't like him. I disagree because I don't like him personally. When I'm at a live event, I'm the guy in whatever shirt that he's wrestling. If he's wrestling Seth Rollins, I'm in a Seth Rollins shirt. If he's wrestling Kevin Owens, I'm in a Kevin Owens shirt. And I'm booing him. But that's what he does. He gets a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena did that for years. And Roman is probably the next guy. He is the next guy to do that. And I would hate to see him in a fourth consecutive WrestleMania main event when there's a match on the table in AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura on the other side, on the SmackDown side, which I think that would absolutely tear the house down again. But if that's what Vince wants to do, that's what he wants to do. That it sucks for most people out there, or most internet wrestling fans out there, but if Roman Reigns is the guy, then people just have to deal with it.
Listen, Eli. The difference between Roman Reigns and John Cena fighting in a match and AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura fighting in a match is that AJ and Shinsuke, I'm sorry, as great as that match would be, probably the match of the night, probably going to be a match of the year candidate if it happens, it's not going to sell pay-per-views. Roman Reigns is going to sell pay-per-views. John Cena is going to sell pay-per-views. Together, they are going to sell pay-per-views. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke, that's a nice match to have on the undercard. Or it could be your quote-unquote co-main event. But really, in the word, I hate to quote this guy, but in the words of CM Punk, if you're not the last match on the show, you're not the main event. It's as simple as so. They can be on the undercard. Do I hear a bit of an echo?
It's
I also
probably,
hear a bit of an echo.
probably from me. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I was just making. What was I saying? Yeah, AJ. I'm sorry. AJ and Shinsuke are just. I just don't think that they're not big enough names to sell a WrestleMania pay-per-view. They're big enough names to be on a WrestleMania pay-per-view and to be a big match. They can be the SmackDown World Title match for sure. But think about it. What was this year's SmackDown World Title match? Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. Was that the main event? No. It was Roman Reigns and The Undertaker because those are two bigger names. Just like Roman and John Cena would be two bigger names. You always want the biggest names.
You're comparing a Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton snore fest to AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, who can absolutely tear the house down any day of the week, any month of the year.
Absolutely.
I absolutely think that those two men can sell a pay-per-view because they do it. They already did it in Japan. So why could they not do it? And people are still talking to that match.
You're talking about two different wrestling fan bases. There's the independent fans. And people in Japan. There's a whole fan base in Japan that love that stuff because they love Shinsuke Nakamura and they have respect for AJ Styles. American wrestling fans, casual WWE fans, because you have to think about it. Not all fans are going to know about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'd argue that I don't have the statistics, obviously, but the vast majority of the people that watch WWE are casual fans. They don't watch independent wrestling. They don't care about Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles at Wrestle Kingdom. They don't.
Perhaps they don't care about that match, but do you not agree with the proper build? AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura are so ridiculously over right now.
But you're telling me that they're going to main event a pay-per-view over Roman Reigns and John Cena?
I definitely believe so that could happen.
For multiple reasons, that should not happen.
WrestleMania is 7 fucking hours. You don't think that there's going to be highs, peaks, and valleys on that show, and John Cena and Roman Reigns could potentially be the peak in the middle of the show.
No. Those two names are way too big to play second fiddle to AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura.
But you act like they haven't done that before.
In Japan.
No, not what I mean. They put the icons lower on the card than the quality, or I wouldn't say quality wrestling match, but they've made the wrong choice on a main event, quote unquote wrong.
So you're saying that AJ Styles and Shinsuke would be the wrong choice?
No, I'm saying that they put the icons lower on the card. It's been done before, and the wrong people have gone in the main event, but I think that it would be the right choice if Shinsuke and AJ were in the main event. In
my opinion, Eli, the WrestleMania main event is about names, how big the names are in the match.
And they botched that before.
With what? What's an example? I haven't been watching wrestling. Since I've been watching, the main event should have been the main event.
Hogan and Rock, they went on before Triple H and Jericho. HBK and Undertaker went on before Randy Orton and Triple H.
In a world title match. See, I think the world title thing is also a big point. Because what if Roman Reigns is the world champion, the Universal Champion?
But he wasn't this WrestleMania, and he main evented.
Because it's the Undertaker. That is like, was there a match that should have gone on? Do you think that should have been Sorry. Do you think that should have not?
No. The world titles. The world titles just weren't. They weren't. There wasn't a contender to do that this year. There wasn't a match contender to do that instead of Roman Reigns and The Undertaker.
Exactly. Now, if Roman Reigns is the champion going into WrestleMania 34, he should be main eventing, especially if he's fighting John Cena. Over AJ and Shinsuke, that could be a world title match too. But again, I feel like the names are more important than the titles, and you can look at this year's WrestleMania as an example. Roman Reigns and Undertaker are the bigger names. That's why they main evented. The reason they didn't put Brock and Goldberg in the main event is because they knew how short that match was going to be. But Roman and Taker are bigger names than Randy and Bray. Maybe you could argue that Roman's not as big as Randy yet, but he's definitely bigger than Bray at this point. And
I think this year was an odd case. And where
I don't know. I think it was all intentional.
Oh yeah, but I think that I personally believe that the title should go on last. The world title should go on last. But whenever you have the 10-minute Brock Lesnar going over, was it even 10 minutes? I couldn't even tell. It was like 5 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You just can't end the show like that. And they made the right decision this year. And I guess I don't know how to feel about Roman Reigns main eventing a 4th consecutive WrestleMania, but I don't know. I feel like when the pure wrestling match, I don't move on. I'm done.
All right. We kind of talked that point to death anyway. So let's just continue. This is something that we're gonna like breeze over quickly because honestly, I don't even think I watched half the match. I might have passed out during it and woke up when it was over. But we had the Hardys versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I know that this match has happened. I did a little bit of research. I know this match has happened before. But Mike, I'll let you talk about this one first because I personally just tuned out while it was happening. The Hardys won, by the way, but I want you to talk about what you thought about the match.
Dude, I thought it was a very great match. Like you said, we've seen this match like I don't know how many times now, but I personally thought it was really good.
Honestly, I think it just kind of goes back to like this match is a prime example of a point that I made as soon as the brand split happened, which was the women, maybe not the women. Actually, it's been the the women's divisions have been panning out pretty well, but the tag team division. No, here's an idea: tag team division on one show, cruiserweight division on the other show, because these tag team matches are just the same thing every week, and it makes me just loathe tag team wrestling. I don't want to see this. I love that the Hardys are back. I love that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are in the WWE. They're solid heel tag. That's a solid heel tag team right there. The Hardys, solid face tag team. But I don't want to see them competing week in and week out. And I don't care about the little variations. The Hardys versus Cesaro and Sheamus. And I love Cesaro and Sheamus, don't get me wrong. I love that team. But all these it's basically you're watching the same match over and over again. And I'm waiting for a breath of fresh air, and I believe that breath of fresh air is going to be the Revival. We saw them on Raw tonight in the last segment in a really weird. Hey, you.
Shut up, you Mark.
Yeah, shut up, Mark. But I want to see them get back into the ring, and I want to see them challenge the Hardys. I want to see them challenge Cesaro and Sheamus. I know they're both heel teams, but I'm pretty sure the Revival is one of those kind of like, obviously they're a tag team, but I kind of feel like for a tag team, they're lone wolves where they don't care who they're fighting. They just want to win. I'd like to see them fight the Club. I was interested in watching them fight the New Day when they first debuted. There's so much that you could do with the Revival, and I feel like SummerSlam should be definitely their first big match. I don't know who you want to put them against. Maybe do the Hardys and the Revival. That'd be an interesting match just because.
I'd love to see that. I love the Revival. I literally think that they're the best tag team in WWE, if not
best
on the
tag
planet.
team on the planet.
Yeah. Let me finish.
Okay.
I just think that there's so many different possibilities with them, and the first one I do want to see is the Hardys, since they're here and they're not broken and they're not split up. They should capitalize on that opportunity ASAP. My thing is I don't want to see them win the belts and then have another pay-per-view, or the Hardys, win the belts and then have to wrestle Cesaro and Sheamus at SummerSlam. I think that they should maybe win them at Great Balls of Fire, then do the thing where they just defend them on Raw and jump right into the Revival feud. Because I think that would be a great feud.
I don't like them playing hot potato with the title, but if it's going to get me the Revival and the Hardys, I'll be fine with that. I'm not saying that match is going to be. I'm sure it'll be solid. Maybe a good pre-show match, depending on how many matches you can cram onto the main card of a high caliber. I'm sorry, I'm being told that. Oh, we got some comments. Wow, we got a lot of comments.
Yeah, Jeez, everyone's disagreeing with your ass.
Disagreeing.
Shout out to Justin, Whitney, and Brittany.
Fucking Roman supporter. Yes, I do support Roman Reigns. I can't wait for his match at SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar. It's going to be just as big as their first WrestleMania main event. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. Actually, I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat. I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat. If you have anything to say, I'll reply on the spot. So what were we talking about? We're talking about So that match at SummerSlam, the tag team match, it wouldn't be great by any means, but I do believe you could make an interesting feud out of it, especially depending on if you can Hardy's gimmick. I feel like that would really add another dimension to it. I don't know. There's a lot you could do, but yeah, I don't want to see any more rematches. So this match, as I said, I tuned out. I'm sorry. I can't focus on. This is just all what Raw has been. This is, as I said earlier, this is like reasons like these are the ones are the. I'm like so scattered. I'm sorry. See, my issue is that I try to multitask. I was trying to read the chat and then it just like completely fried my brain. But like a reason like this is the reason I stopped watching Raw in the first place. I hate these boring tag team matches. It's just rematch after rematch after rematch. I don't know how many times this match has happened because I haven't been watching. I'm sure it's been plenty. Even if the match was solid, I don't care. I don't want to see it. I can only see a quote unquote solid match so many times.
Yeah, I got home at 9, and I was watching the first hour on my DVR, and I just skipped right through it. It doesn't interest me in any way. I love the Hardys. Don't get me wrong. I've loved them since I was a kid, but this doesn't do it for me. The only way I will watch a tag team segment on Monday Night Raw is if it's for a title, and sometimes that's not even interesting.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been able to like connect with the tag team match, like the title matches that you said. I don't know. There's just something about tag team wrestling right now that is just on all ends, SmackDown and Raw. It's just killing me. It's just killing me mentally, dude. Mike, how did? Actually, I already asked you. You started this thing. Wow, I'm so scattered right now. I apologize. This is basically how I felt watching the match. I was all over the place mentally. It's hot right now too. I'm sweating. I'm tired. It's crazy. Watching 3 hours of Raw is like it's wrestling NyQuil. It makes you. I'm just gonna stop talking right now. Let me recollect myself and let's just give our star ratings. I'm so sorry. I'll give this 2 stars. I watched
Should we even
it.
start the stuff that we didn't?
It happened. I mean, I guess we should because it was a match. But I mean, I'll give it 2 stars. Mike, what would you give this thing?
A solid 2.75 for me.
How about you, Eli?
I'm gonna give the first NA of the podcast because I didn't watch.
Oh yeah, you already said that. There goes my scattered brain again. Anyways, after that, I'm actually going to start getting back into this because I was actually interested in this segment. I thought it was fantastic. I wasn't sure about the R-Truth counterpart later in the show, but I really, really, really like what they're doing with Goldust right now. I haven't been watching, as I've already said, but I have been watching some of these segments just because I thought that, back in the day, Goldust was one of my favorites back when I was, at the time when he was tag teaming with Cody. I believe their team name was the Brotherhood. I could be mistaken, though.
Yeah.
I really love that. I love their theme song. I love the team. I loved everything about it. I wasn't a huge fan of Goldust and Stardust, but Goldust and Cody had my heart. That match with the Shield at Battleground with Dusty and everything, probably one of the best moments I've ever watched in wrestling. I loved him. And then there was a time where he came into a slump, literally, just leading up to these promos, and since the Stardust thing, he's been in an absolute slump. This tag team with R-Truth, yeah, there were some funny segments that they were doing when Goldust was trying to get Truth to be his tag team partner and vice versa. That was good comedy relief, but I don't know. They just haven't been doing anything serious with Goldust until now, and I'm liking it. And I hope it's not just for this match, that they're not just building up to this match with R-Truth. I'm sorry, I couldn't unless they were doing these promos, I couldn't tell you that I was excited to see a Goldust and R-Truth match. I think that this could go on a pay-per-view. I feel like this could be on Great Balls of Fire. You're going to, with the rosters being split, you need to get as many matches onto these cards as possible. Otherwise, you have you're gonna have something that happens like what happened last night at Money in the Bank, where you throw on Breezango versus the Ascension, which is something that nobody wants to see. Where in the meantime, you could have been building up a match like Goldust and R-Truth with these vignettes, or just like segments in the ring, get fans at least slightly excited, and then pull the trigger at a pay-per-view. The fans might not love it, they might not eat it up, but it'll still be worth watching. And at least you put the effort in, and you gave two people who aren't bad. I mean, Goldust and R-Truth, they're pretty old, but neither of them are bad by any means. They're both solid wrestlers. I'm sure whatever happens next week on Raw is going to be solid, whether it's a match or whether, I don't know, maybe it breaks out into like a fight before the match starts. Which actually, if I was booking the show, that's probably what I would do. I would have Goldust attack R-Truth before the match, have him beat the shit out of him, and then that would be the end of that. And then you could do the actual match at Great Balls of Fire. Maybe put a stipulation on it. But considering they already have a stipulation match that we'll talk about later, maybe that's not the best idea. I don't know. But I think that this match is easily pay-per-view quality, despite the fact that neither of these guys have been pay-per-view quality for the better part of over a year, for sure. Eli, what did you think about this?
I'm in the boat where I think that the Goldust promos have been entertaining. I like what they're doing because it's a big throwback to the Goldust of old. That's before even my time of wrestling, but from what I understand, he was a decently entertaining fellow back in the day. And the R-Truth retaliation is just kind of like, R-Truth. Shit happens. He wasn't entertaining whenever he was main eventing Capital Punishment or whatever. But he's been funny, and I wouldn't say I'm excited for a match between these two, and I wouldn't say that I would like to see it on the pay-per-view, even though it's probably going to end up there. But I'm glad they're at least caring for their undercard. Because what they could be doing is just Goldust turns on Truth, and then they really don't give a shit, and they're like, "Oh, this happened 2 weeks ago," and then they put him on a match on Raw, a la perhaps Miz Dow and Miz, when they could have done something with that, and they just threw it away.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. That's my question. My question is, are they going to make something out of this, or is this just going to be like a one-off feud, and then after this they just go back to irrelevancy? I mean, for R-Truth, I don't really care if that happens. I'm not a huge fan of R-Truth. I can't take him seriously. And I know that's weird that I'm saying I can take Goldust more seriously than R-Truth, but it's true because, as you said, it's kind of a callback. Like, what he's doing right now is a callback to his past work. And that was an enjoyable gimmick. I've watched some like old Goldust matches and some old Goldust segments, and I could say that all that stuff is much better than what he's been doing as of late. But right now, he's kind of in that niche. He's doing what he knows how to do best. I like this segment. But at the same time, that they're not going to be doing this for long. Not even just because they're going to be casting him back into irrelevancy after the fact, but there's also I noticed that they kind of were doing this movie thing with him and R-Truth. Like, even R-Truth's segment had this kind of movie feeling to it. So maybe that they're only doing this this movie thing just for this segment, or sorry, this feud. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Either way, I'm not gonna cry if Goldust isn't pushed into relevancy after this. I hope he wins, because I feel like if either of these two guys, if I had to pick one of these two guys to be a star, I would definitely pick Goldust. That's for sure. Mike, how did you feel about this segment? And actually, talk about the R-Truth segment if you want to too, because I don't want to talk about that later.
I'm gonna keep it short. I'm just really intrigued to see where this is gonna go.
Wow, we're getting some sweet comments in the comment section. Wow, my heart goes out to.
I'm laughing, honestly.
What's up, Albrizzy? That's real sweet of you. Okay. So up next we had.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll not talk about that. This segment was pretty weird in my opinion. You had Elias Sampson sitting in the ring. and he starts playing the guitar. Finn Balor comes out. It's just, I don't even, honestly, like, I wish I could, like, remember exactly what, I'm pretty sure, like, Elias Sampson was just going for that basic heel heat, by, like, telling the crowd to be quiet, and of course the crowd's not going to be quiet in response. And then Finn comes out, and there's no interaction. Elias Sampson just leaves the ring, and then Finn Balor's music continues to play. I was honestly pretty confused, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. It felt awkward to me, you know?
I would love to go on a walk with Elias.
Jesus Christ. We're having a little war in the comment section right now, guys.
Yeah, eat
Of
my
course
shorts.
You can't remember because you just started watching yesterday. Let's talk about that. Why do you think I just started watching yesterday?
Okay, since while she's typing her response, I'm going to talk about this segment. I think that it's nice that they're trying to make Elias Sampson relevant, even though he's not the most talented person in the ring. And I believe this is kind of like he's getting booed because people actually don't like him, not because he's doing heel things. You know, and I think Finn Balor could be pushed into a more prominent thing. I'm in the camp where I think that Finn Balor should be feuding with Bray Wyatt instead of Seth Rollins. Because I think that could have been a very, very, very intriguing feud.
I agree, but I think they might be saving that for SummerSlam, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I also see that, and I don't know exactly where. I don't know exactly
we
where
have
Seth
a
would go.
response. Because you don't know shit. Because you said that AJ and Shinsuke couldn't main event. Wow, how stupid could you be? Got me cringing over here. Now, okay, I get your point. I'm not saying that they couldn't have a main event match. I'm telling you right now that Roman Reigns and John Cena would get more pay-per-view sales than AJ and Shinsuke. AJ and Shinsuke would most certainly be the better match, but they aren't going to sell as many pay-per-view buys as Roman Reigns and John Cena would. Because the internet community, while it might be the most vocal, they aren't the biggest. There are millions of people who watch Raw on a nightly basis and watch SmackDown and watch these pay-per-views. A lot of those are like children who like Roman Reigns and children who like John Cena, and not even just children. There are grown people who like these people too. So yeah, would the internet fan base would like to see that happen. But the internet fan base is a John Cena. Why do you think that? Cena has no charisma. Wow. I would like to disagree with that. I think John Cena has plenty of charisma.
As I sat here and disagreed with Aiden, I was speaking from a selfish internet. I was speaking of the selfish internet wrestling community who wants what they want, right? I want what I want, and I am in the vast majority that would love to see a Shinsuke Nakamura versus an AJ Styles main event WrestleMania. But it's hard for me to argue with the point that he's making whenever the pay-per-view buys would just be a lot bigger if you see John Cena versus Roman Reigns. If I'm a guy who knows jack shit about wrestling, which apparently you think that we don't know jack shit about wrestling, but if I'm just a guy that's like walking down the street and someone's talking about wrestling and they talk about Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, first of all, they probably thought I was talking gibberish when I said the first name. And they'd be like, who? But if you hear John Cena and Roman Reigns, the majority of people know who John Cena is, and I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns is getting to that.
I'm not gonna say that Roman Reigns is a
Roman Reigns isn't there yet.
But if you put John Cena and Roman Reigns on the poster, more fans are going to watch than if you put AJ Styles and Shinsuke on the poster. Now, let me say this. Personally, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Personally speaking, which match do I think would be better and should be, I would rather see in the main event? Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. That's obviously going to be the better wrestling match. match. But I'm not here. You know, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I am speaking from what I think would be Vince McMahon's perspective. He wants to sell pay-per-views, so he is going to put John Cena in the main event because like right now in the mainstream, the two biggest. You're funny. I like you, but Roman Reigns can't even wrestle. Also, no charisma. I'd pay big money to see Shinsuke and AJ tear down the house. I would too. And again, I think that would be a better match. However, first of all, I like to say that Roman Reigns most definitely can wrestle because just look at his match tonight with Samoa Joe. It was phenomenal. Of course, Samoa Joe carried a lot of the work in the match. However, you can't have a two-person dance with one person. Two people have to do the work in a match. And Roman Reigns did his part. Samoa Joe obviously did more, but they both did their part. Now, I would like to mention the fact that you fell asleep. Well, I mean, the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." They loved it. I don't know what to tell you. The fans loved it. It got a good reaction from the fans.
Okay, in the second part of your original comment, I'd pay big money to see Shinsuke and AJ. I would too. You and I would. All three of us here would.
I would.
But not every wrestling fan on the face of the earth would go, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what I want to see. Not everybody would be like that. There's casual wrestling fans out there. Because Joe's fat ass foot.
Okay, we're gonna ignore that.
Anyway,
I don't know what that has to do with the price of TNT.
John Cena versus Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania. That is an icon versus icon match. That's just what happens. And they would sell more pay-per-views. They would get more asses in seats. That's of the overall WWE wrestling community. If you draw a big circle of what the universe is, the WWE universe is, there's like a smaller portion that's the internet wrestling community that would prefer AJ versus Shinsuke. Would people be in the crowd once people started watching? They'd probably be mesmerized by AJ versus Shinsuke. But when you put a casual wrestling fan seeing John Cena versus Roman Reigns, that's what's gonna sell the pay-per-view. Unfortunately,
she's saying that because Joe's fat ass floated. That's why they were saying this is awesome. Hey, the podcast isn't over. We're having a friendly conversation here. We'll get back to the point eventually, but it was a senton, and I don't think I've ever in the history of wrestling heard fans start chanting, "This is awesome" for a senton. It's because all of the wrestling up to that point. If that was, I don't even know, like if that was exactly when does this podcast end? Oh, okay. Well, how far are we even into the show?
Well, we're about 3 of 10 segments in.
Yikes.
Yeah, 3 of 10 segments in.
And my brain is fried.
Yeah, would you like me to take the reins, bro?
You can take the reins.
Because you're struggling over here.
You're everywhere, brother. HH.
Tough night.
Okay, so that Elias Sampson deal. Finn interrupted him and then wrestled Bo Dallas. Same, it happened, I guess. I'm intrigued to see what they do with Finn and Elias, but obviously Finn's going to go over because why in God's name would Elias Sampson beat Finn Balor? And what do you guys think is going to be a Great Balls of Fire match?
Probably.
Yep, because you need to make matches for the pay-per-view. You have to make
exactly.
matches.
Yeah, Finn Balor's a guy that needs to be on the card.
What do they have right now? They have, obviously, I think they're going to do another tag team title rematch. They have
Bray and Seth, probably.
Bray and Seth. They need at least 7-8 matches.
Miz versus
so this is definitely going to be one of them.
God versus Ambrose.
So this is going to be one of the filler matches. I think Samson's one of those guys that's just a glorified enhancement talent. I don't think he's ever really going to amount to too much.
He's got that nuclear heat, bro.
Yeah, and Finn's obviously going to go over in this feud. it's cool to see Elias kind of doing something, but I don't know if he's going to be doing something for long. If you get what I'm saying.
No, I don't. Honestly, I'm gonna argue that I don't think Elias Sampson has like good heat. I don't know what they're doing with him. It was the entire segment was awkward to me, and the only reason he was getting booed is because he was pretty much asking to be booed. He's like, "Please be quiet." Like that is literally like it's the same thing that the Miz did with like the "my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut." It's the easiest way to get heel heat. The absolute easiest way.
Yeah, I'm personally not a fan of Elias Sampson.
So it's cheap to me. It's just a little bit cheap. I don't know why he's.
Like I said,
I just don't get him. I don't get his whole thing. I'm just not a fan of it.
I don't think he's being booed because he's a heel and he's doing heel things. I said this about 15 minutes ago. But I think that he's being booed because he's uninteresting and he's just doing the cheap heel things. Like the cheap shut up thing.
Well, in all honesty, what did he ever do in NXT to even deserve a call up?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Like he wrestled, I want to say maybe 12, maybe a little bit more in that television matches.
He had no prominent feud on NXT television ever.
Has he even wrestled? Took part in a takeover? I don't think so.
I don't know if he did, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I think. What do you guys think about? What's your ratings of this segment? The
segment itself.
Yeah, the whole, even including the jumping after.
I don't really care about it. I guess, I mean, you have, as I said, you have to make matches to the pay-per-view. I would give it another 2. This is one of the things that, on this episode of Raw, there's a reason I'm frazzled tonight. It's because I've really struggled to pay attention, and I'm really struggling to pay attention right now because it just destroyed my attention span.
Mike?
I have to agree with Aiden. I'll give it a solid 2. But I would love to give it Elias, though. I just love that.
I will also. Like I said, I don't think Elias Sampson's ever really going to amount to much. Finn Balor just needs to be on the card, and he's going to win, obviously. So the next thing was Seth Rollins, correct?
Well, there was the Finn and Bo match. We talked about that.
We scanned over, right?
Yeah, you know what? I like the aggression from Finn Balor. That's all I'm gonna say.
Dude, Bo looked good at the start, but then of course he was gonna lose. LOL.
There was a lot of good aggression in the match. It was kind of like, I guess I'd give that a 2 too if you're throwing that into the bunch with everything else.
Yeah, I was kind of just throwing that and the interruption.
Okay.
Kind of like a one blanket.
All right, but yeah.
After that was the thing. So Seth came out and talked about the 2K18 cover, which I'm personally on the cover, not only because he's my favorite, but because quite a while that a young star has been on the game. Yeah, but I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of this feud because as he spoke in his typical face, I couldn't have done this without you guys thing, and then Bray Wyatt just interrupted for no reason. And it really seems like they're feuding for no reason at all. It's kind of like a forced feud in my opinion. And I'm interested to see how the match will go, but nothing really happened to spark this feud, and it's just kind of the same thing being said every week. You're a false god. No, I'm a god, and you're just an idiot. It's just, it doesn't. I don't like it. It's not interesting me at all. But I think the match will be all right once we get to it. But it's kind of been repetitive, and it's only been going on for 2 weeks.
I don't know. I was kind of a fan of the segment, except I wasn't. I don't know. For me personally, I like it when people sell Bray Wyatt's presence. And Seth Rollins, to me, obviously, I think he's fantastic on the mic. I think both of these guys are fantastic on the mic. But to me, Seth Rollins just wasn't really selling Bray Wyatt. When he came on the screen, he had the same look on his face as he did before. And when he started talking to him, and of course he got his little, he had to get his religious opinion out by saying that gods are all in your heads.
Of course he did, right?
I was laughing. I was dying of laughter.
I just give it a little like chuckle and a head shake, like a chuckle.
You wore my ass out with the belt, but I'm back to listen some more, guys. Well, I'm glad that you're willing to take punishment to listen to us.
What?
That's what all Brizzy said, bro.
I appreciate that.
That's some dedication.
The weather. That is. #1 fan, even though you hate us.
Just me. I ruffled some feathers with that Roman Cena Styles.
Yeah, there was a lot of drama going on in the comments earlier in the show.
That's why I got so frazzled, bro. If I have to be honest with you right now, like that's why I'm freaking out, because I do not take everything just like hit me at once, and I just lost my train of thought, and I have not been able to get it back. But you know what? We're good now.
Yeah, but back to the Seth thing. I see where you're saying he didn't sell the presence of Bray Wyatt, but I just think that's his character. Like I don't give a fuck Seth Rollins, who's gonna go through absolutely anyone and anything to get what he wants. Type deal. He shouldn't be. I don't think that. Like, what has Bray Wyatt really done to scare Seth Rollins? Honestly,
you're right.
What has he done?
But I feel like people should at least know what he's capable of. Like, look at the feud with Randy Orton. He should be thinking, "Oh shit! Look what happened to Randy Orton. That could happen to me now too." Like,
yeah,
but I think that's in some feuds, Bray Wyatt is this scary guy that everybody should fear, and it's the same on commentary. When Bray Wyatt is having a quote unquote scary feud, they get all quiet and they're acting like they're scared too. But Bray Wyatt comes out tonight. It's like, hey, look, guys, it's Bray Wyatt. Here he comes. Like,
and how dumb was that, huh? Like, is Bray like that? Like, did they make him look that stupid where he's like just strolling out with a lantern as Seth is standing there in the ring waiting to jump on him?
Bray
they made him look like an idiot.
Looking like a 9/11 truther right now. Like, no joke, with all of this, like, Seth Rollins is a corporate shill. Like, every single thing that he says is just like, it really, like, his character is becoming less this, like, scary eater of worlds, and he sounds like he's a conspiracy theorist now.
There's no credibility to Bray Wyatt's character. And one thing I was excited to potentially see with the Finn Balor feud, and we still might see, we're going to see that down the line, without a doubt. I would have liked to see his credibility rise and go over Finn Balor. Although that probably wasn't going to happen, and I'm not convinced that he's going to go over Seth Rollins. I think if you stick him in a feud with any of these top guys on Raw, I don't think that he'll go over.
That's true, unfortunately, because I like to go back to John Cena and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. I thought that feud was incredible. I think that was, what was that? Was that 30?
That was 30, yes.
Yes, that was 30. I thought that feud was incredible. I thought that was Bray Wyatt at his peak. His character was hitting his stride. John Cena was great in it. The match wasn't fantastic by any means, but the feud was next level in my opinion. And that's what's missing from Bray Wyatt. And it's just whenever he loses, it hurts his credibility. That's the kind of character, because he keeps on calling himself, you're right, he keeps on calling himself a god, but he has such little credibility because he almost is losing every single feud that he's in at this point. In my opinion, he should still be on SmackDown Live as the champion. He should not have lost to Randy Orton.
I agree 100%. He should have beat Randy Orton at WrestleMania. But I believe that the rumor I heard was that Orton got busted open at SummerSlam last year, so he kind of traded that for a WrestleMania title win. That's what I heard.
That's an unfair trade.
That'd be
Really
stupid. That was true.
To get-
Who knows if it's true or not?
To get shoot punched and busted open for a world title, I'd probably take that. Like, that's a good deal. Too bad his moment wasn't glorious because that was a shit stir of a match. Anyways,
Oh, it's so stupid.
yeah, like the larva on the canvas.
Oh.
Anyways,
I thought okay. Like,
okay.
you're probably gonna disagree. I mean, I honestly thought that, like, if executed properly, that could have been a pretty cool idea.
But it wasn't executed properly.
They fumbled it most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't done right. Anyways, let's grade this segment. Aiden, go ahead.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was kind of in between. So that's exactly what I'll give it. I'll give it a 2.5.
Mike?
Yeah, I'd have to say about like 2.25 or 2.5.
Yeah, I'll give it like a 2.25. I like both of these guys. I like Seth Rollins a lot. I'm a Bray Wyatt fan through and through.
Mark.
But I'm not intrigued by this feud. There's no reason for me to be, because Bray Wyatt's not scary, like as he should be, because he just doesn't have any credibility. And why are they feuding? I still don't know.
I don't know, but I kind of like it because both of these guys could use some fresh feuds. I mean, I know, like, they kind of, like, especially if they aren't doing it at SummerSlam, they did drop the ball with Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. For sure. But I don't know. I kind of like it. I like Seth Rollins. I like Bray Wyatt. I like the fact that they're feuding. I don't care what the grounds are. I hope they can establish some more, like, depth to this story, so it's not just like two. Because right now, you're right. It really is just two guys fighting for almost no apparent reason. Why is Bray Wyatt targeting Seth Rollins? He literally has zero reason to target him.
There's no reason behind the feud. I can't get behind it at the moment. They have, what, 2 more weeks, 2 more shows to make this make sense to me. I like the idea of them feuding on paper, because when I saw Bray Wyatt come over to Raw, I was pissed because, like, he's not in the world title scene anymore. But I was also excited because we were going to get feuds like Seth Rollins, or he was going to get feuds with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, and potentially Brock Lesnar, which I know is a big one for everybody. But it needs to be executed properly, and as of right now, I don't think that it is.
You're right. I agree.
So moving on, is the Cruiserweight segment next?
Yeah, but I almost don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, it was odd, to say the least.
I love Titus O'Neil. Yeah, I'll say that I love Titus O'Neil, the Titus brand. I love it. I love the whole shtick.
Yeah, I like Titus O'Neil a lot. TJP does absolutely nothing for me anymore. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of TJP marks out there, but he does nothing for me. And Tozawa, I'm just not intrigued enough in his character for me to be entertained by him. I know both of those guys are great in the ring, but there's really no intrigue behind them, you know? Neville is carrying this Cruiserweight division. I love Neville. He's awesome. And
I do. I agree. I like Neville. I have one thing that, like, kind of bugs me with him, and it's his voice sometimes comes off as a little bit, like, ingenuine in a way. Like, he sounds like he's trying to be too evil.
Yeah, it's like not that just he's like a bad guy. He's trying to be like a villain, and he's not a villain. Look at him. Like, come on, he's just like a small British man who's quite jacked.
Very jacked. I'll give him that. Yeah. He's built my man's built like a tank.
Oh, he is. The one thing I do want to bring up about this, my favorite part of the night actually was the power of Tozawa. That is hilarious.
The Titus brand is legendary.
Titus O'Neil's awesome.
I love Titus.
He's been given such a shit, like, he's been given the shitty end of the stick, and he's doing pretty decent with it. I can't lie. This is a much better Titus O'Neil than we saw last year at Money in the Bank, kissing his son on the lips, his 15-year-old son on the lips. I like this Titus O'Neil.
I want to say also that he's gotten a lot better on the mic. Like, I remember when he first turned heel and he cut his first promo, it was absolutely horrendous. When he was
that the one where
Darren
he
Young.
Is that the one where he like stuttered a lot and forgot what he was saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was just stepping all over his own words. It was something else.
So yeah, this was just another Cruiserweight segment. It happens every week. They put one on to plug 205 Live. And it wasn't really anything special. So I'm going to grade this in 2-star as well also. Aiden?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I can't say that it was bad. I can't say that any cruiserweight matches are bad, but I can't say that any cruiserweight matches are great either, except for, maybe Neville and Austin Aries have put on some good ones. Neville and Jack Gallagher have put on some good ones. It's
Neville
just, I've never... Neville and
At Rumble. Was that Rumble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because whenever Neville wrestles, he doesn't wrestle often on Raw. It's usually guys like TJP that wrestle. Also, I don't know if this. I'm just as I said, this is the first show I've seen in a while. But have they been calling him just TJP for?
A while? Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's been a couple weeks since they've been doing that. I don't like it.
Okay, yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. It was a little bit weird to me. I'm usually not huge on name changes. Maybe not. I mean, I liked Rusev, like Alexander Rusev to Rusev. I thought that was good. But some of them just like, I mean, come on, it's TJ Perkins. It's not like that long. It's not.
Yeah, and I didn't like Adrian Neville to Neville.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Alexander Rusev to Rusev.
See, that was a good one.
Oh.
I didn't like Biggie Langston to Biggie.
Yeah,
I think Biggie's kind of.
I prefer the Langston as well.
Me too. I hope when he goes singles, I hope that comes back. That's.
I don't need 3. I need 5.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah,
what's your grade on this?
Sucks.
I'm sorry.
He does. Did you grade this?
No.
I don't remember.
I'll give it a 2 for 25.
Yeah, nothing special. So then we move on to what I thought should have been the main event segment. Because I was very confused whenever I heard Roman Reigns' music hit at 9:45, and I was like, "What the hell are they doing?"
I thought they were gonna go the distance. I thought they were gonna have an hour-long match for a second there.
Because nothing else was built. Like nothing was Miz TV even announced at that point?
No.
No, honestly, nothing else was built. I was like, why are they doing this at 10?
I would still argue that. Looking back at the entire show in retrospect, that still should have been the main event.
Oh, 100%. I think that because the comeback of Braun Strowman just made everything that alone should be the main event segment because Braun Strowman is literally that much of a star on the rise right now. The return of him, I feel like they didn't sell his premature return enough because. Originally, he was listed to be out 6 months, and it's been 6 weeks.
Yep.
As that is kayfabe, obviously, that was a kayfabe deal. But I think that should have been made a much bigger deal than the main event segment that was.
I mean,
actually,
to comment on the part about them underselling, I believe they did mention it at least twice.
They did, but I just feel like. They didn't freak out as much as I thought they would when they see a man coming back from what was it? What was it sold as, a rotator cuff injury or something?
I think it was an elbow injury.
Elbow injury? I don't remember. It just I'm very excited that Braun Strowman's back. Very.
As am I.
But
I want to say
put him with Roman Reigns again.
I mean, dude, I'm just saying this entire match and everything that happened afterwards and everything about this was a treat to me. I thought the match was incredible. I thought the ending made nobody look weak, and I love the fact that Braun's back. Everything's perfect.
Yeah, it was both. The men in the match wrestled awesome. Roman doesn't. again, not a fan of Roman, but he could get it done in the ring, especially when he's put with a guy of the caliber as Samoa Joe. He proved that tonight. The both men proved that tonight. And I was very satisfied with the match.
Yeah.
And I was satisfied with how Strowman returned. I thought the ambulance thing was kind of cheesy, personally, but
well, I thought, I was thinking that it was very weird until they made the ambulance match announcement. I'm like, okay, that cements like right up Vince's alley to do, just to kind of make that connection. I get it now, but like, I wish I knew that ahead of time, because I was here like, okay, so did Braun Strowman just get some random guy like, hey, dude, come here, drive this ambulance backwards into the arena so I can come out of it? It's like, okay.
He was like setting up for the spear, and I just hear this beeping. I'm like, what the hell is that?
It was funny because this is just like something that's like completely off topic, but like he was opening his mouth to breathe at the same time the beeps were going on.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same exact thing.
It was
like
breathing funny
with the beeps. Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, but there's nothing to scoff at with this segment whatsoever. Joe looked great. Joe looked strong going into his Brock match. Roman looked good in the match, and Strowman coming back is A1 quality. I loved it.
I agreed. I loved it all.
Now, what will we give?
All right,
how many stars we give this?
Go ahead, Aiden. You decide.
I'm gonna say that with the match and everything that happened, a 4.25, because obviously everything could be better slightly, but it was absolutely fantastic.
And Mike?
I'm sorry?
Your grade, sir?
Oh, I'm going to give it a solid 3.75 for me.
I will split you down the middle with a 4-star. I thought it was great.
Oh.
It was what we needed. I think this should have been the main event segment, but hey.
Yeah, that should have been it. But oh well.
Earlier in the night, before this happened, there was a segment with Miz and Bo Dallas after he lost to Finn Balor and Curtis Axel for some reason, and he was convincing them to join his entourage.
Oh yeah.
And that came into play with the Miz TV segment of the apology to Maurice. He got her 2 bears that said, "I'm sorry, please forgive me." He got her favorite champagne or wine or whatever it was, and then he rebuilt the time. He rebuilt the grandfather clock that he broke 2 weeks ago or whatever.
That got me so emotional.
Yeah, I mean, what they're doing right now is different, but the fact that Dean Ambrose is still on the other side of this feud after when did Ambrose win the title? January
4th. That was the worst day of my life. I was sad.
January 4th. This feud has been perennially going on for 6 months. 6 months with The Miz, who is, I'll give it to him, an entertaining guy. He's great on the mic. He does great things for the Intercontinental title. And Dean Ambrose, who I'm not personally invested in, but I know some people are. And he can be entertaining on the mic at times. But neither of these guys are extraordinary in the ring. And it's not like they're putting on a series of matches that tear the house down left and right. It's just got old. So that's why I'm hoping that The Miz retains at the Balls of Fire, presumably. But what did you guys think of the segment, aside from the grand scheme of things?
I just wanted to say one thing. I'm not huge on either of these guys, but I was watching this segment and I just felt bad for The Miz. It was I did last had my from an outside, like not even from like a fan, like me being like, I prefer The Miz over Dean Ambrose, which is true. But like I feel like any fan would have felt bad for The Miz. I mean, he did all that hard work to make Maurice happy, and look how it all just crumbled down. Dean Ambrose is kind of a prick. He came off as a prick in that segment. I'm sorry. So, I mean, The Miz has my sympathy, which is weird because, of course, the heel should not be getting sympathy. However, I mean, the attack at the end of this segment kind of patched that up. But, like, if that didn't happen, like, if The Miz really just, like, walked to the back and Ambrose, like, celebrated to end the segment and that was it, that would have made Ambrose look really bad. And I don't know if it would have gotten the fans behind Miz, but, like, it was just weird. The psychology of the segment was a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad this is going to be over in 2 weeks, hopefully. Because if Ambrose gets the title again, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And I think that Axel and Bo Dallas are going to play a factor in the retention of the Miz's Intercontinental title.
We don't need another Miz and Dolph feud.
We don't. It's gone on for too long.
At least Miz and Dolph had like quality matches though.
That's true.
These two don't put on good matches. They put decent matches on together, but they're not.
They just don't
good.
have they don't have good in-ring chemistry. They don't. I think it's the same stuff over and over. But my problem with the IC title picture on Raw at the moment is that it's just these two. Like, there's no one else that even it seems like has an interest in this title, even though that it's the title that's on the show every week. And I would like to see guys like a Seth Rollins or a Finn Balor go after the Intercontinental title in the near future somehow, some way. That's me. I think that this title needs to be. I know this is kind of like a typical thing to say, but I think it needs to be more prestigious, and this feud isn't doing that right now.
Yeah, I think that The Miz is the right guy to be holding this title, but he's not in the right feud.
Also 100% agree.
I don't know who he has to feud with to make that title relevant and to put on a high-profile feud and match. I was thinking, I mean, I made like a little mock SummerSlam card, and I had The Miz and Seth Rollins just because I feel like it's a good heel-face combo, and I feel like it'd be a good match because Seth Rollins is a quality wrestler. The Miz definitely isn't bad in the ring. He's just not great. If he has somebody like Seth Rollins that he's working with, it could be a good match. And they can both work the mic, so that's not a problem. And
I think it'd be a great feud.
Yeah. And plus, people were talking about The Miz and Roman. We know that's not going to happen now. So, yeah, that's what I would like to see personally going forward for The Miz.
I'd like to see I don't know what I'd like to see out of a Seth and Bray feud. I'd kind of like to see Seth go over if that were going to be the case, just so he could jump right into a title. And
I think because Seth Rollins is on the cover of 2K18, he has to have a little momentum.
He's going to win.
I think he's going to win.
I definitely think he's going to win. And then, does that mean he wins the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam, becoming a Grand Slam champion?
I hope not.
I would be interested because I feel like they value Seth more than they value The Miz, but is that the right option? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But as for right now, I'm not invested in the Dean Miz thing. It's just not for me.
Neither am I.
So, fellas, let's grade it.
I mean, The Miz is excellent on the microphone. I love the emotion from him. But just it was kind of very backhanded the way it all unfolded with The Miz. The Miz was earning my sympathy. Ambrose, he was coming off as a bad dude to me, ruining this couple's relationship. I don't care who the couple is.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Rusev and Lana and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman. Yeah, exactly. Roman kind of came off as a jerk in that feud too.
Yeah, and like Rusev was just like defending the honor of his wife.
Exactly.
And he's the heel. Like WWE tends to do that sometimes. Like it's kind of like reverse psychology with the roles reversed and stuff. But that's what happens. It's on paper. This guy's a face. This guy's a heel. And obviously Ambrose is going to get cheered before the Miz.
I'll say it was a bit chicken shit for the Miz to grab Maurice. But that was about it. Ambrose shouldn't have come out. Ambrose shouldn't have ran at the Miz. Ambrose, there were a lot of things he did that just kind of came off as like, I don't want to say mean because like that's wrestling for you, but
uncalled for.
I don't know. not. It's just like it was just like it's weird that the heel should be doing those kinds of things. The heel should be causing problems for the babyface character. Unless, like, the only way, I mean, in my opinion, the only time the babyface should be getting the ultimate upper hand like that is when he's winning the match to end the feud. They're just and like they're really building sympathy for the Miz because like I kind of feel like obviously like it's all storyline, but like you want to feel bad for him because he's having relationship issues. I'm a guy. If I had a girlfriend, I wouldn't want. I want to or a wife. I would not want to be having relationship issues with her, no matter who I am.
Especially when they're caused by some just like blatant asshole.
And he's so nonchalant about it.
Yeah, like he doesn't even care that he's doing it.
He does. Yeah,
he just seems like the typical douchebag, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got like that douchebag look. He's like, whoopsies, didn't mean to do that. I don't know.
Anyways, let's grade it.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. I'll give it a 3. I thought it was a good segment. Not sure about the psychology, but nonetheless, it was good.
Right, Mike.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.25.
I'll give it a 3, just for reasons that I've said prior. What's next?
I believe it'd be Sasha Banks. Wait, no.
Titus.
Yes, the Titus
brand versus Sheamus and Cesaro.
You know, I never thought that Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews would have a tag team name before Cesaro and Sheamus did.
That's sad.
But you know, I would personally be kind of intrigued with the Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews tag team.
As would I be, but they're already losing, so it's like you might as well.
Yeah, it's not.
They aren't going to be anything if they're already losing.
Yeah, because Titus announced this earlier in the night. Whenever he was in the Tozawa segment, and he said, "Myself and Apollo Crews will be teaming up," and I went, "Whoa, this is interesting." And then he said, "Against the tag team champions, Sheamus and Cesaro." I went, "Oh, there goes that."
Yep.
Because obviously the champions are going to win.
I mean, I would love this. Titus and Apollo had some chemistry in the match too, so they could be working on
dynamic.
You can tell when a tag team is about to become an actual tag team by how much of a connection they have. Like with Cesaro and Sheamus, like I know like the thing was like, oh, they hate each other, but they have to wrestle together. In their first match together, they had like a plethora of tag team moves. You knew that moving forward they were going to be a team. And Titus and Apollo, they didn't have any moves together, but they did have a lot of that connection.
Yeah, I would like the idea of that moving forward, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad segment. It did what it was supposed to do. It made the champions look strong.
A typical Raw segment, in my opinion. Just another tag team match that just
Yeah, nothing special. I don't even want to really waste too much time talking about it.
Neither do I.
Should we even grade it?
Yeah, we might as well. I mean, I'll just give this one a 2 again. It served its purpose, as you said.
All right, Mike.
I'll give it a 2.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2 as well. 2's across the board. And right about here, they announced it was. I want to say it was like 10:35 maybe, and they announced that they were going to preview the Brock and Samoa Joe match.
Oh god!
And that happened. I mean, they make the video packages important. That's cool. But then at that point,
I mean, I love they're incredible at making video packages, but it just sucks because I know we're gonna have to sit there and watch it at Great Balls of Fire again. I don't want to keep on watching these video packages.
And if you watch the pre-show, you'll see it twice that night.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I like the video packages, but they're overdone. But at that point, what I was going to say was I saw an eruption on Twitter of no women? What? They deserve better. No women? What? Huh? And I was like, there's no way they're not going to put the women on. Because I didn't think the Kurt Angle main event segment was going to take too long. And lo and behold, Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. And I will agree with the people that said the women deserve better because this was awful. This was not booked well. It included every woman on the Raw roster. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it
All
just
except
seems
Alicia
like one of
Fox.
those. Alicia Fox is the only one. She's going to be on 205 Live tomorrow. And this was just, it reminded me so much of pre Divas Revolution.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And I'm like, it just seemed like they were throwing all the women in the match for no reason, just to get them on TV. Like, it was like, oh, we don't want to leave anybody out, so we might as well just have them all go out there. And I have not a clue what they're going to do with the tag, or not the tag, with the title at Great Balls of Fire. I would like to see. I think what they're doing is kind of just lying in wait for the Sasha Alexa to happen at SummerSlam. That's my opinion.
I agree.
So I think at Great Balls of Fire they might do like a 6-person tag or something like that. Was there 6 people?
I think there was 7. I think there was 4 baby faces and 3 heels.
Well,
Bailey, Sasha. Yeah, you're right.
If they can get another heel, we'll make it a fucking 4-on-4.
Yeah, Summer Rae or something. I don't know where she's been.
Hell yeah,
But
the goat.
yeah, it seems like this was just gross and not what women's wrestling need. We saw such a great stride for women's wrestling with the Money in the Bank ladder match last night, and then we see this the very next night. It was a peak in a valley.
That's what I was going to say. Raw seems to be regressing while SmackDown is progressing.
Yeah, and I think this is just kind of a slump. I think that the Raw women have potential to be good, to be on the level that they were last year this time. But this booking where they're just throwing everybody in a segment at once, I think that they should just be focusing on about 2 to 3 people in a singular feud, not 7 people. Because this was ridiculous. I don't want to see this again.
Yep, I totally agree.
I don't even want to grade it.
The match to begin with was a bad idea. We've seen Sasha Banks and Nia Jax wrestle like 1,000 times.
It literally could have been anybody else. Like, it could have been Sasha, or it could have been Nia and, like, Mickie James, because we've never seen that. Sasha and Emma, something like that. And I think that, like, Emma could be a top player in the women's division one of these days. But just being booked like this, nobody's going to be a top player.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if you throw everybody in the equation, it makes it so confusing as to, like, who, like, you're trying to find out who's going to be at the top. But when everybody's involved, you don't know. And you don't know who to root for, who the bad guy is. Like, you don't know who your stars are.
Yeah, it was just confusing, and they're not doing what they need to do. And what's crazy is that this is a 3-hour show, and they had to stuff 7 women into one segment.
Yep.
Like, there wasn't time. Like, there wasn't time for 2 women's segments where there could have been, like, just as an example, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, and Sasha Banks had won, and then have a small, like, undercard feud with, say, Emma and, like, I don't know, Emma and Mickie James.
If you're going to do filler matches, you might as well put women's filler matches too.
Yeah, because you can't, like, it just seemed like this. It seemed like a lot of the segments were long tonight. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't really a short segment aside from this one. It seemed like
exactly. I think you're right because, like, not a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, it was just long, drawn out stuff. Like, I think the Seth and Bray thing went longer than it probably should have. I think that the Miz TV was kind of drawn out. I think the Tozawa thing went way longer than it should have. Yeah, there wasn't much room for the women on this show. And when there's 3 hours, you'd think that there would be, but there wasn't. And the SmackDown women are doing a much better job at this juncture. But then again, they were presented with an opportunity the Raw women weren't. You have to look at it that way as well. The Raw women, they didn't have a Money in the Bank match where they could build multiple people up at once because SmackDown could get away with having multiple people in a segment because of the build to the match. But this was just a useless segment with multiple people in it. They just weren't given an opportunity that the SmackDown women were.
I totally agree. But yeah, I mean, do you want to do a star rating for this one?
I'll give it a 1. Actually, I'll give it a 0.5 because that was off. It was off. It was terrible.
Ooh, the lowest grade on the podcast so far.
I mean, the match was cut short, and it was just sloppy. And as you said, yeah, I don't like how they're just throwing everybody together. It just feels lazy. I'll have to give the entire thing a 1.
Like,
I'm gonna have to agree with Eli. 0.5 from me.
all right, and finally the main event segment, which when I hear the ratings dip stories of how they don't draw ratings, you'd think that people would. This kind of links into the topic we were talking about earlier. Whenever people are waiting for 11 o'clock to roll around, you'd rather wait and see a Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns match at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, in comparison to Kurt Angle cracks the case of who was attacking Enzo and Cass. Because quite frankly, most people don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean,
Like,
it definitely was like, I love the way they did it, but yeah, it could have
Right,
easily,
yeah.
like, let's say it was the Revival that did it, right? Way to end the Revival comes out, beat up Enzo and Cass. Yeah, we get a feud. I mean, it was an interesting turn. Like, I saw it coming, and I think a lot of people saw it coming as well, just because of the way that Big Cass has been acting lately. I just want to say that I thought it was very hilarious how when Corey Graves presented the security footage, he was just saying like snarky shit the entire time.
Corey Graves is hilarious. He's my
I was
personal
dying.
opinion. He's the best commentator on WWE programming right now. He's awesome.
He was just being such a smart ass, and it was classic.
I'm sure the attacker's coming around anytime soon,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if this is some sort of weird pre-match ritual you go through.
Everything he said was funny. Now, here's what I'm curious about. What's his connection? Because he's been having these phone calls with Kurt Angle, right? And he and Big Cass, isn't there something with them too?
I don't know. And there was a segment earlier which we didn't touch upon where Corey went into Kurt's office and said, "Oh, sorry, you had a bad Father's Day," and they shook hands and Kurt like pulled away.
Yeah, I watched that and like I'm like, yo, did he just like make like did Kurt Angle's dad just like die or something? I'm like, did he just like roast my like I was so confused.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense now, but the story, the rumor as of right now is that this is a long-term thing for Kurt Angle to come back and wrestle, and the presumed opponent is Triple H.
I don't get how he fits into this equation though.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll kind of make sense eventually, but right now it just seems like you know. And I don't get why Corey Graves is involved, but you know it'll be intriguing. But anyway, back to the regular, like the segment that happened. I thought bringing out the suspects was kind of dumb. I think this went longer than it should have.
Yep. I mean, it's great to see the Revival again. Great to see Dash and Dawson.
Yeah,
but it felt weird
seeing those guys.
But it felt weird to see them in the ring when they aren't out there wrestling. That's what they do best, let them wrestle.
Yeah, it was just an odd way to utilize them. It was an odd, like, bringing Big Show into it was odd. And even I know we just said it, but involving Corey Graves, like Kurt Angle was supposed to be the one that was like investigating all night, but meanwhile Corey Graves had all the answers. Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's definitely gonna be some greater swerve though, where I don't know if Kurt Angle's gonna turn heel, and then it's gonna be like this Kurt Angle, Corey Graves, Big Cat, but that makes no sense at all.
Yeah, like listen, I liked Enzo and Cass for a while, and then they started to get stale.
I mean, if there's no greater meaning with Corey Graves, I feel like the smart way to present would have been to have Kurt Angle say that he found security footage.
Well, Corey Graves has to be involved in this somehow. Like, I don't get how, but he is.
He's tied in. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get it eventually. We will get that answer somehow.
Maybe he'll be Cass's manager. I don't know.
That'd be cool. But no, he revealed that he was the one that sold Cass out.
True, but it kind of seemed like Cass wanted that.
I guess. I don't know, man. This whole thing was confusing. Although Cass's heel promo was pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was excellent. The emotion, bro. The emotion is exactly what I did not know that Big Cass had. I always thought that Enzo was the better mic worker, but tonight, like, if we're talking about charisma, like raw charisma, Enzo is kind of like, I don't know, it feels fake. It feels scripted almost. Big Cass has that raw energy, and he showed it for the first time in his entire career tonight, in my opinion.
I thought it was great. I think he did very well with what he was given, and I think he's going to be a good heel if he keeps that kind of intensity and emotion up. But this was my problem with the Cass heel turn the entire time, was you need a good first feud. And his first match as a heel will probably be against Enzo Amore. And that doesn't intrigue me. Although they were former tag partners, they don't have like a storied tag team history, and it's not like Enzo is a good wrestler either.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I'm surprised that they cut this tag team, their run together, so short before they even could win a title.
I would have liked to see them win a title, and there were opportunities within the past year where they could have very well become champions. But I didn't think their run would come to like an abrupt end like this. It's not to say that I'm upset about it because, as I said, they were running a bit stale on me. But,
they were definitely
I'm intrigued to see where they go with.
I wanted them to be NXT champions, at least for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And they never won the NXT titles. They never won the main roster titles when they easily could have. They had all the crowd loves them. They got a reaction when they came out tonight. The crowd loves Enzo Amore.
Yeah, this was actually this was the loudest pop I've heard for them in a while.
Yeah, but Enzo is going to flop by himself, and Big Cass is going to rise to the top. I can already tell because Big Cass, he's incredibly athletic for his size, and if he can continue to cut promos like the one he cut tonight, then he's good to go. Enzo, he can run his mouth, but that's the thing, is that he was the mouthpiece and Big Cass was the one that could back up. Like Big Cass said, like Enzo kept on cashing checks with his mouth that he couldn't. Wait, what was it? Oh my gosh, I'm brain farting now.
Writing checks with his mouth.
Writing checks that he couldn't cash. There we go. Thank you. That's the saying. Because he can't cash them without Big Cass. He'll never be able to do anything without Big Cass.
I would love to see Enzo Amore become a manager, because I don't think there's not much more he can do as a wrestler. Like there's not a person in the world that could tell me Enzo Amore is a legitimate threat for any title, for hell, even any wrestler on the roster without Big Cass.
Exactly. That's why I think doing this so soon is a mistake before you even make Enzo look strong, because we all know watching this tag team that Enzo is most definitely the weak link. On the microphone, he's entertaining. So actually, I mean, to be honest, towards the end, he was kind of bugging, but he's definitely got a gift on the microphone, but in the ring, something is definitely missing. And it's his size and it's his lack of ability. When you have a guy who's small like that, they need to be a good wrestler. Like, let's talk about Kalisto. Kalisto's small, right? But he's also an incredible wrestler, so him winning a match is convincing. Enzo Amore can barely wrestle. He's small. He runs his mouth but never backs it up. There's just a lot about him that is just not. I don't know. There's so many factors of his character that they just clash together in a really ugly way, and I don't know if he's gonna be able to be successful.
I hope they go a route putting him in a managerial position, or hell, even another tag team, because it's not that he couldn't hold his own in a tag team match. Like he'd get his ass kicked and he'd tag Cass in, and that's believable. But I just don't think that Enzo as a single star will ever happen.
Highly doubt it. Especially because Vince is hot on Big Cass. We kind of forgot to mention that.
Yeah, he is.
Vince wants Big Cass to be the star out of this duo. So that definitely means Enzo's probably going to get shafted.
Definitely. There's not a doubt in my mind. If he were smart, manager of somebody with absolutely no charisma, I couldn't tell you who you'd stick him with. But he should be doing the Titus Brand thing right now. That's what he should go do.
Yeah, but is the Titus Brand heel or face? I can't even tell.
It's like kind of nothing. It's kind of like people laugh at it because it's dumb.
They're just like
it's entertaining. Yeah.
Because isn't Apollo a face, but Titus is a heel, and I'm pretty sure Akira Tozawa is a face.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think he should be doing something Titus Brand-esque, not that he should be in the Titus Brand.
Oh, okay.
Like, he should be trying to sell people, like...
He should join the Miz's entourage.
Oh, my God, yes.
But, yeah, this segment went on too long, but I'm excited to see what Big Cass does, because I think he could do some really
As am I. I'm excited to see what he does post Enzo. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's personal. Like, I'm sure, like, we're going to get some good promos from it, but, like, I can't wait to hear how Enzo's going to respond next week. But it's definitely not going to be a good match by any means, but Big Cass is capable, in my opinion, of putting on a good match. I remember back when they had when they were trying to determine the next Universal Champion.
I was just gonna bring that
in the match that Kevin won. He definitely held his own.
Yeah, he can do good stuff when there's good workers in there with him, but when he's given Enzo more to work with, it's not going to work. I think it's just going to be a shit ton of big boots and what's his move, the Empire Elbow, and then that's it.
Yeah, probably.
So grades on this segment.
A solid 4.5 for me.
4.5.
I'll give it. I mean, the ending was probably like a 4.5, but the entire execution, I'm gonna drop it like 1 star. I'll go 3.5.
I'll give it a 3 because it went too long. The only thing I liked about it was Cass's promo, was Cass's talking at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't get me excited for the future. It doesn't get me excited for the immediate future. Like I think a main event segment probably should. It gets me excited for the long term. If you're like, as an internet wrestling fan, I'm excited for the long term. But as a casual fan, you're not thinking that far ahead. Like, excuse me, Cass could be a big star because casual fans don't think that way. They don't think like internet wrestling fans.
Yep.
So I'll give it a 3.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Okay.
What do you think Big Cass will do at SummerSlam if he does anything? Do you think they bring this feud into SummerSlam, or do you think he fights somebody else?
That's a good question. I could see maybe a Big Show just to kind of put him over.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Because there's no way he jumps into a feud with a top star right away.
I surely wouldn't mind that. I like heel Cass. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him.
You've only seen so much substance. You've only seen 2 minutes of substance with heel Cass. Can he keep that emotion up? Maybe. We'll have to see. As of right now, I would like to see a Big Show match at SummerSlam.
And also, I mean, like, I would say carry on Enzo and Cass until SummerSlam. But the issue is that Big Cass is probably going to win their first match. And it probably won't be in screwy fashion because Big Cass is way better than Enzo, way bigger, way stronger, way more athletic. Like, there's no believable way that Enzo Amore can beat Big Cass. So it should only go 1 match. Like,
Yeah,
let's talk about like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. When those two fight each other, either man could win any time, and it would make sense. Enzo Amore being Big Cass does not make sense, so this feud should not go longer than one match. If it does, I mean, would I mind that? I probably would. I don't know if I'd be a big fan of that idea, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the one match. I'm excited to see what I'm excited to see Big Cass wrestle as a heel. I'm excited, I guess, to see what Enzo can do by himself. Probably, I mean, I say I'm excited now, but in the future, I'm definitely going to be like insulting his ability in the ring. But for now, they have me interested. When new things happen like this, when they do these little fun twists and turns in wrestling, it always has me intrigued, even if I don't necessarily like the people involved.
Right. Okay. So that was Monday Night Raw.
Hell yeah.
It was kind of your typical Raw episode. It was again peaks and valleys. There was only really the opening segment was great. The match with Roman and Joe was great, and the 2 minutes of Cass's promo was great. But not much else. It was kind of a mediocre show. Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, that basically sums it up for me.
Mike, final thoughts on the show?
Just I have to agree with you. It was just like a typical Raw show. Nothing really that exciting besides like one or two things. Three things.
The big thing for me, the most exciting thing for me was Braun Strowman's return.
Oh yeah.
I can't get enough of this guy. I literally cannot get enough of this guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for next week. I'm excited to see what Braun's going to do. I'm excited to see the interaction between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar. I'm excited to see how Enzo Amore is going to respond and how this Kurt Angle, Corey Graves thing is unfolding. And they're setting themselves up for a lot of interesting things, but like those interesting things just did not happen tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to get screwed either, or like we're going to think that there's going to be intrigue to it, and meanwhile it was just dumb the whole time. But I'm hoping this all makes sense in the coming weeks.
Yep. So should we wrap things up here?
I believe so.
Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, you guys can plug your Twitters if you want.
I'm at the Buckle Bomber on Twitter.
Follow me on Twitter at Worst Profile.
And I'm probably going to be updating my app soon, so I'm not even going to say it right now.
But you know what you should say?
Show. What?
You know, like the podcast that, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, because we didn't do it earlier.
Did we? Oh my God, we dropped the ball, huh? Or I dropped the ball.
Asshole.
I told you. I'm sorry. I'm having an absolutely terrible night, and I am all over the place. I am scattered. Follow us on Twitter at Eskimo Bros Cast. That is EskimoBrosCast.
Hit it, Eli, you son of a bitch.
For those who don't know how to spell.
And thank you to everybody who's watching right now. Thank you to everybody who's watching in the future. Thank you to anybody who is hearing these words right now. We appreciate you. And we'll see you tomorrow night for the Tuesday Night SmackDown review. And I swear to God, I promise I will have my shit together this time. God bless everybody. Have a good night. Peace out.